You're listening to the C1D Paintball Podcast.
Hey there, Andrew. Welcome to the C1D Paintball Podcast. I am joined now. It's tonight when I record this, but you could be listening in the morning because that's the magic of technology. You may be in a casino in Vegas, so you don't know what the hell time it is. But I've got Mike. Mike waved once again, realizing he prefers the video version of the podcast, totally throwing the middle finger to those of you listening to Spotify.
I'm here.
Are you kidding? You're giving me you're giving me material to work with. We also have the one and only Thomas.
Good evening, good morning, and good night for whoever's listening in, whenever time it is.
And if you're in Vegas, make sure to tip your waitress. There we go. Tip your waitress. So, as we record this, it is late January 2025. And for those of you listening in the future, they're going to turn it off right away. They're going to say, I don't want to listen to old stuff. It is the time of year where, unless you are in a position like, say, in Florida or California, although there's snow in Florida and there's those horrible fires in California, but you normally can play paintball year-round. But for those of us in the Great White North, and I am including you, Mike, New York is welcome to join Canada, but we're not going to talk about politics, religion, or abortion on the show. Well, maybe abortion. That always, talking paintball. It's paintball without abortion. It's cold up here. We do not get to play year-round, and so it's a time. I enjoy the time off, and I know, Thomas, you've been playing. I think you've been playing long. I think you and Jeff have the longest tenure of playing paintball in the C1D Corps. Besides being busy for work in the winter, do you look forward to the time off away in the winter, or?
Well, it is a time to definitely reflect on the year past, and also it gives an opportunity to do a little project. I haven't actually done any projects this winter towards paintball, so yeah, it's making me a little bit nutty. I'm living in my head a little bit, so I can't wait to get back out. I think mid-March there'll be a Saturday. I'm going to find an indoor place and scratch that itch, because definitely March is going to come rolling in, and it's going to be paintball stoke, waiting for the fields to open in April, mid-April probably.
If I'm looking here, I just had a flash on my screen. If I'm looking here, I believe we had our Jersey Day was the first event last year, which was March 2nd. A little early, but we could be hitting up March again, which would be cool. Mike, of course, we talked about this on the podcast not too long ago, last winter, because you guys had only really gotten into paintball about halfway through the season. So you guys were itching to play whenever you could. You enjoying the time off a little bit? You must have. I mean, we all got the itch now, but did you mind the downtime too much?
It didn't bother me as much as last year, like you said, being new into it. There's days when I got my equipment, it's all just still sitting here and all the cases and stuff, where I look at it and I'm like, man, could just pack up and go today. We do miss it, but it is nice to have some time off. Again, to maybe do some projects or put some markers together, or build a new marker, or just get all your gear together, because it's mayhem throughout the year, with all the big games we do and stuff. And sometimes I can't just get my equipment all together. So winter's nice to be able to go through everything, be like, oh yeah, I got that. I forgot about that from the beginning of the year. And so I'm enjoying it off. But again, just like you guys, I got that itch to where I'm probably thinking about going indoors here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we're working on that. I'll talk about that in a second. You're talking about doing new builds and such and projects. Thomas mentioned as well. I got 12 videos I've actually finished in the past 7 days. So upload 4 more tomorrow. So it's a time of year where I like doing that. After for 3 weeks doing nothing really much on the videos. no matter sitting playing with.
I got a bit of I got a bit of extra footage I should probably, seeing as my YouTube's have been a little stagnant lately. I could probably throw together some random stuff. Oh, Chris is here in the chat.
Chris is here working on Two Conquerors. He's fixing it for a buddy, and they both need parts. So he's the guy. Chris is the guy in his circle. It's like something's wrong with your marker. Give it to Chris. He'll fix it. Well, maybe I'll give him $50 for the parts. No. He's a paintball nut. He'll just fix it, man. He's a paintball god. Actually, I did mention the wildfires in California. I know Thomas knows. Mike, do you know who the Reaper is? His name is David. He is.
No.
Yeah, he packs 2 Tipexes, and usually Tipman sponsors him to go around to different places. He is an ambassador for paintball. And as I've mentioned, guys like, I compare him the most to Wolf. They do it, they're known, and they absolutely love it. And he lives in California. His house is under threat of fire. I think a couple of times he had to evacuate. Like when they say they suggest you evacuate. Well, he was at the point where it's like, you got to get the hell out of here. And I was just looking at his Facebook. He's buying pizza and giving treats to all kinds of rescue workers. They got the National Guard up there too, a couple of which know him from paintball, so he gave them some freebies. So for
oh wow,
Justin, who's a stand-up guy, and for anybody who we're not we're not the most listened to podcast in the world. If you happen to be listening, and if you happen to be in California, I hope you're safe with that, and everything works out. The next thing you know, you're playing in better weather. Actually, here's something. You're playing in the rain in the summer. You're playing paintball and all this is behind you. And so my heart goes out to that. I actually saw a video too about a paintball field that the way it's set up in California, it's kind of like, what do they call that? A fire break, because the trees are all cleared out. That this paintball field is kind of like keeping the fire away. So paintball saving lives. No, I don't mean, is that disrespectful?
Paintball God's doing some work.
Paintball God's doing some work. Also wanted to thank, there's 2 podcasts I listen to every week, and I know there's a lot. There's a lot of paintball podcasts out there, but there's 2 I listen to. I talk about a lot. I'm going to say them in alphabetical order because I never put one above the other. You get the Frontline Paintball Podcast, Maritime Paintball Podcast, every week. Still putting out stuff every single week. They're not kind of a self-encompassed podcast like us for our C1D world. They are the real deal. And let me tell you, the last couple of weeks with the polar vortex, I just like saying it that way, I've really, really enjoyed their podcasts, and they're building us up. Especially, well, I like both a lot. They cover so much ground. But remember, we're going to have to build up towards what's the Kaiser going to do this year, because the king, the other Thomas Bork, the usurper, you're not the usurper, Thomas. He is.
Nope.
He's got a C1D jersey, so I hope he plays for us on this time. But he might have to keep his bat. He might have to watch where you are, Thomas, on the field, just in case, team hits count. So what are we going to talk about tonight? I got a couple little notes here. And we'll just kind of go with the flow. Although I would like to have, whether it be next week or in 2 weeks, I think we start building D-Day already. I'd like to talk about what we want to do. I want to reach out to those who are thinking about going and sell them on why they should go. So I don't have to ask if you guys are going, right? I don't have to ask.
Nope.
Well, the registration isn't exactly open yet, so we're going to wait for the registration to open, and then we'll pounce on that.
We'll pounce on that. We're going to be that group. It's like, I'll see it's open. I'll do mine right away to try to be number 1 or 2. Then I'll tell the rest of you guys. No. Actually, last year I did that. It's like a bunch of us at C1D registered first. It was like first. It's like posting on a YouTube video. So I just thought
I'm surprised it's not open yet, because the last event we went to, I accidentally bought the 2025 ticket. And I just called them and I was like, oh, I accidentally bought next year's ticket, but I'm going this year. And they just did something in the system. But I'm surprised it's not open yet.
Well, at least you didn't buy 2023 tickets. That would have been a bit tougher to get out of. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, we got Chris is typing in the chat in German. Even I'm going to get so distracted this show. Uh, all right, I
Translator, please.
try. Der Kaiser is the best, I believe. I'm guessing what best and East is Der Kaiser. See, your paintball is saving lives and educating you tonight. So I saw a couple of things and I said,
The Emperor is best.
exactly. I do like our episodes tend to be focused on, hey, when we have a game day. We did 2, maybe 3 last year on the prep for D-Day and that. So we kind of have these big topics. And I one of the things I enjoy about the big topics is getting sidetracked with little topics. So I got a couple of little topics tonight, especially when you can kind of get into a reflective mood this time of year when you're, the itch is back for me. I mean, the itch was always there for paintball, but December, I didn't mind just sitting back. But now I got the itch, and I thought about something, and I've got the perfect person here to discuss it because I remember it wasn't last season. It was a 2023 season where, Thomas, you're kind of talking about, challenging yourself because C1D, our Warzone games, are usually are at Warzone, and we do it during the walk-in time. So although sometimes there's multiple groups, so the party wants to play together, generally speaking, we're not going to mix with a party of kids, but generally speaking, we do have walk-ins. So one thing we tend to do is we play down to a certain degree. And when I was talking about Thomas, I guess with your experience, Thomas, and not to inflate your tires too much, but Thomas is a pretty skilled player. He's got the gun skills no matter what he's using. He's deceptively fast. And I say that as a guy who's like, when you play against him, it's like, how the hell did you get there? And
I'm not 100% built like Usain Bolt here. I'll be 100% honest.
One of the videos coming out, it's I get hit from the second floor of admin building on base where I spawned. So I went down to one of the little buildings below it, and I get hit from behind. I turn around, and Thomas is like leaning over the rail with one hand. He just waves to me with one. He's got his marker out of the way, just like it's another freaking day in the office. But Thomas, you talked about wanting a challenge because it is harder sometimes when we do play. I don't mean to make it derogatory. We play down, but if we see we're playing with, there's 6 new guys on each side. There's little basics we do. Like if I see Mike and Nick on the left, and then there's 3 noobs exposed on my right, I'll concentrate on Mike and Nick. I'm not going to do too much to those guys on the right unless they're shooting at me, because there's different ways to play down. Now, like I mentioned, Thomas is talking about making sure he doesn't get bored. I mean, use the pump so often, but then somehow during the Halloween event, you've got that abomination, the abomination from
Abomination.
Eclipse. Actually, yours looks good. He's got, you've got a nice. It's like, I never want to play against him again. You've got the mag-fed speedball marker. I don't even want to. It's like Voldemort. I don't even want to say the frickin' name of it. Although
I may or may not have gotten Miranda one for Christmas.
Oh, she's going to enjoy that for sure.
Oh my God. And with her style, playing back and creeping in, that's going to, I'll appreciate it on D-Day. I won't appreciate it when she's against me.
He's going to start rigging the sticks.
Rigging the sticks.
Miranda's
The player of the
gonna be on
year,
his
by
team
the way.
every single time.
Player of the year for C1D, the MVP of 2024, if you missed it, was the Sticks of Destiny. Tongue depressors with an X or an O, that determines who you play on, what side you play on. It was shockingly fairly fair. I think only a couple times we had to switch a couple players. Okay, I'm going to switch colors here. Oh, no, I can't do that. Every time I switch colors and I do it on my Google Assistant, somebody out there has lights turn on and off. Anyway, I'm being vain with that. So let's talk about the things we do, because the question did come up to me. People reach out on Messenger, usually for me on Messenger, and a couple of conversations I've had on Discord and other Discords on, people talking about, well, how do you guys play down? How do you make it more challenging then if you're playing with rentals and stuff like that? For instance, I always run mags. The only time you will see me with a hopper is at D-Day. And last year, the 6EF, which was the other big game at Mirabel. Actually, no, it's not totally true. In March, our first time out of the year, I took a hopper because I didn't want my magazines to freeze up. So for me personally, I always run mags. I run 5 mags for the game, and just to let for people say, how do you play 5 mags? The average game's about 8 to 12 minutes long. I'm not a overly shooty guy, and I also don't use a sidearm. I do have a sidearm. I got a holster, but I find this kind of like levels things out. Now, if we're at one of those days where there's 16 of us and we're all C1D, I'll stuff a couple extra magazines. I mean, all I have to do is have more trigger discipline, but that's how I kind of like equalize things. As a matter of fact, yeah, you saw it last year. I don't even wear my proper vest. I only wear my vest now for big games. I wear my little Vietnam vest, which is just lighter. It's faster. Yes, I feel the shots, but anyway, I'm doing the Andrew. I'm talking a lot. Mike, what do you do in that situation? Is it just self-discipline? But if we end up going to the field, let's say there's a dozen of us, so 6 on each side, and we got at least 6 noobs on each side, like noobs. How do you play down? Is it more of do you limit yourself equipment wise, or do you just use trigger discipline and or something like that?
I usually keep the same equipment on me no matter what, because if it goes into a longer game and all those noobs are gone and it's just me and the C1D guys left, I want to make sure that I got enough to keep going. So I don't ever limit myself there, but mostly discipline, just one shot rather than taking the 3 that I normally would, or a big one I do when we play with the little guys, and is I shoot around them on purpose. I'm pretty fairly accurate. You can shoot something next to them to kind of get them riled up. I learned that at I don't know if it was because it was really dark at Army Globe, but there was just a lot of times where someone would be standing right in the open, and I could just take them out so easily. But instead, I shot over them, kind of get them to duck and maybe go around and get cover, get their blood pumping and stuff. But yeah, it's mostly trigger discipline and just not being over competitive.
Actually,
trying to just dial it back a notch.
Something you mentioned at the LaSalle facility, it was Tombstone, Arnold's, LaSalle Paintball, currently Army Globe. All the reiterations of that especially when it was Arnold's and LaSalle, Connor and I played there a lot. Is suppressive fire there, because like there's bridges with the slats. You shooting over the guy or shooting at the guy knowing you're not going to hit him, the suppression there is so much easier than the outdoors. I think just with the ceiling and it's so dark in there.
Sound, everything's...
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's good even on veterans to do that. Just kind of like remind them, like, I see you. I've literally shot it at sections of that field where it's like, I don't know if anybody's up there, but I would be up there, and you shoot, and the next thing you know, you see a guy run out there. Okay, let's talk about Thomas, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say another thing I noticed that I tried to pick up. I noticed that what Connor does a lot is he just basically doesn't shoot. He keeps his marker down, and what he does is he helps the new players or the rentals, whatever, by just communicating with them, letting them know this person's over there, that person's over there, you should be here. And you see him, his marker's down, and he's just constantly peeking out and not shooting, very disciplined. And I think that's very fair, because he's a super good player, super accurate, so he dials it back, but he's also helping communicate and keeping the game going the whole time, which is pretty cool.
Actually, before I asked Thomas how he deals with the new players, now I think that's the video last week we had where Connor was sitting back with Ben and Liam, 2 of our absolute junior members. These kids are pretty young. Their dads were there. We didn't pick them up in a white Econoline van. I mean, maybe their parents own white Econoline vans, but anyway, they came out there, and Connor was going to sit at spawn with them. And as he's explaining everything, thinking he's got the day off, if you haven't seen the video, The next thing you know, he's getting pressed, and the enemy team's coming closer. So he tells the kids to wait, and he goes up and he wastes the other team. And it's like, I just want to do that once in my life, please. So Thomas, how do you deal with that? Is it more trigger discipline? Do you have fun? Do you go with the flow? What do you do in that situation where we're outgunned by the new people?
Well, I wouldn't just keep that to the relatively new players, but I would also extend that all over to the bachelor parties, which those guys are just like, paintball comes second. Yes, they're there on the field, but they're there at a party. It's their party. I'm just there tagging along kind of deal. So I just don't want to be the guy that runs around like smoking these guys left, right, and center, because then, well, I look like a jerk at the same time. It's like, oh, we were here to have fun, and then this guy is like running around picking us off, and they're not having fun at that point. So just my movements on the field, I will slow them up. I'm not going to move as far up. I'm definitely going to be limiting how much paint I can actually shoot, and definitely more pointers out. And obviously, with the bachelor group, I mean, they're typically drinking throughout the day. So even if you're handing out helpful tips,
the retention may not be there.
Retention is not 100% there. So the point is, like, I mean, if they got big smiles on their faces and they're having at it, it's like it's just step back and watch them go.
I like that line,
and especially
it's their party. You just happen to be there. I mean,
it is. I mean, it's especially if I'm the only player that's a veteran player that's been there, and then I show up and there's a group of 12 to 16 guys for the bachelor party. That's not my day at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally their day, and especially with rentals in there, they want to be there for an experience, and it's like, let them have the experience, coach them a little bit. I mean, I've also had rental players outright refuse my advice, and tell me to go screw myself, kind of deal.
Did you have your Magnum PI shirt at that time? Is that why? Maybe you had your Hawaiian shirt. It's hard to take serious.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, no, but appearance is definitely a part of the whole the rentals and the bachelor party things. If you come in looking like John Rambo, you're going to be perceived as like the guy that knows everything, and also at the same time, well, part of the reason why I did want to like kind of dress down a little bit too, with the Aloha shirt. But even then, I did fail. There was one group of folks. They picked up some. What was the discount? It was a discount company way back when. It was discount codes. Anyways, so they showed up. I felt bad. They showed up with like 4 cars, and they had food, they had barbecues and all sorts of stuff like that, and I showed up with my little like general store bogus microwave sandwich thing, and I may have been playing well on the field, but I mean, they totally owned the tailgating, the tailgate party, stuff like that. And even just playing, there was one girl who came out after the game, and she pointed at me and she said, "You scare me." And I was wearing my Hawaiian shirt, and like this 100% was not my intention at all. It was to go out and scare people. But I guess, I mean, if you have a large guy pop out from behind around a corner wearing this loud get up, I mean, yeah, I suppose it could be rather surprising.
Bachelor parties are, the thing about bachelor parties though is they're savage when they do their chicken run with the bachelor. Parties like birthdays, kids they go nuts, but they never hit. If the guy's like 21, it's his birthday, they hit him a couple of times, but for bachelor parties, they just knock the hell out of the guy. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times, and it's always really ugly. The last time we saw one last fall, I think it was, is the guy actually got upset because he got hit so many times, and it's like, I still,
Oh, Princess Peach.
yeah, he's in a few of the videos. That was because he was on my side, so he was like, yeah, he got yeah, he might have made those people sit in the awkward table in the back corner when he had his wedding. By the time that came around, oh gosh,
He threw the flag at him. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was so funny.
That's the advice. Oh, that's true. That's true. This is why I like these type of conversations. I remember all the little things like that. It's the little things I do like about paintball.
This
Anyway,
took,
that's,
this took me like 15 minutes to find, and I know the Spotify people won't see it, but this was a bachelor party. I just put it in the chat. A bachelor party that went absolutely wild, and it was one of my like third times going paintballing, and I had so much fun with these guys.
they're all in dresses. They're all in dresses. My gosh,
They were all wearing dresses,
they're all
white
wearing
dresses too. It was in, yeah, and they were not. They were doing slides on their bellies and knees and cartwheels and front flips. It was absolutely mad. The dude on the left, who was the biggest guy there,
Mhm.
was the fastest, most agile person you've ever seen. I got videos of him doing like 10-foot slides in the rain. It was hilarious.
Wow. Well, it looks like there's grass on that field.
Mm.
So I think if you tried to do that, say on market, you would probably lose a half an inch
Not have a good time.
of skin on that. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool. Yeah, so that, like I said, I addressed that question because people ask, well, how can you play like that and carefree, and does it annoy you? Like, I don't think there's been a time where we come out and we're like, well, we're really babying it up. We want to go out and do some big boy stuff, but no, I mean, yeah, I guess that's more the essence of the group, that we're lucky is you kind of go with the flow. And I really do like what Thomas said about, hey, it's his party, make it fun. But Mike, that's how you got hooked on paintball. You went to a bachelor party. When you went back, you told Miranda it was cool, and boom, you got hooked.
Mm-hmm. It was my bachelor party. Yeah,
Oh, it was your bachelor party? Well, there you
actually,
go. Shoot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was wild. That got me hooked.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's fun. I mean, the bachelor parties are a lot of they're sometimes when it's like the group of, let's say, teenagers like 16, 17, 18, that age. And they'll go in there and you say, hey man, do you want to, I'm going to tell you some things. You can listen to me if you want. You can do your own thing if you want, but it's really good if you play as a team. I find the bachelor party guys are usually into it. They're all gung ho in that, and they'll do some crazy things. But as you get older and you see each season, you see more and more wild things. I actually found something that I put on our Facebook group a while ago. And I just thought it was funny, and I'll bring it up again because there was a guy doing a. By the way, I have your Mike. At the last time we went out, you gave me your tactical helmet to see if I could rig it up with my mask and that. I do thank you for that. I'll be giving you that back. I've got the combo now with the headband and the I gotta forget who makes it. Not I don't have
The mount.
yeah. No, it's just with I got the proper head wrap and a bandana on because yeah, when I had the mount
Oh,
on and
gotcha.
everything, it was hot. It was hot, and there was a little bit of a gap with my mask, and I said I'm not getting the X-Acto knife out for that, but yeah, that's
No worries.
yeah, the helmet with that. I just wanted to bring that out here, but when I was looking for a while for a helmet and just to see whatever, and I found this review of the helmet. And I put it up on Facebook, and it got a couple of laughs, and I thought it would be good just to bring it up here. So this guy is reviewing. I can't remember. I think I saw it on Wish. So really cheap from China. I bought stuff on Wish that's absolutely adequate for what I need in paintball. Nothing. I wouldn't buy markers or balls or anything. But I just little pieces, little trinkets for markers. So I thought, well, what the hell? Let me look at the helmet and see what it is. And this was the guy wrote. He wrote reviewing the helmet. Good helmet, steel shell, plastic liner, as advertised, surprisingly. So maybe he was expecting cheaper quality too. However, the goggles broke so easy. And I think that's one of the ones you can get them, and the goggles are built in and they slide down. So this guy is like airsoft. I'm using the helmet as part of my 1980s Canadian Army uniform, and so far it's served its purpose. First of all, I'm guessing by that he's a veteran, so good for him. Now here's where it gets kind of wild. I've also done some stress tests by ramming myself against walls and table corners. Not only walls, but I think I'll bounce my head off the side of this effing table. And it's really good at protecting your head. I rate this 4 stars because of the goggles quality. And I read that, and I'm imagining this grown man. He's a veteran. I mean, you gotta love the guy. Let's say he was 18 in 1980, and he joined the forces. So here's a guy in his late 50s who's smacking his head in the wall with his freaking helmet on. Okay, Chris says,
Love
surprise,
it.
Andrew.
It should be a video review.
It should be a radio. I'm surprised Andrew doesn't get a World War I British helmet. The most satisfying sound is first strikes hitting the metal helmet. I actually have a World War I helmet, a real one, which is why I would never use it because that's disrespectful. Plus, it weighs a ton. I looked that up, but it's mounting the camera on it that sucks. And yeah, I mean, even the Kaiser helmet. I actually made a version of the Kaiser helmet, and you can see it on some pictures where there's a little jog in the front because I can mount a camera on that. But that would be ridiculously hot during D-Day. But yeah, the whole helmet thing and that. We've got a few people that use helmets. Nick uses a helmet all the time. We had some guys that actually didn't come.
He's got a really nice setup.
Oh yeah, he's got a very good setup. Well, he is Lieutenant Gadget, right? So should get an upgrade. He should be a captain by now. He should be Captain Gadget with that. Now, speaking of helmets,
doesn't flow off the tongue as good.
Yeah. I said for the longest time, and I'm sitting back in my chair here because I'm, weave a web here. Is when it comes to another vanity. It's not a vanity thing, a helmet, obviously not. But part of it is it's got to fit right and it's got to look decent. You don't want to totally look safety first, but you don't want to look like a jackass either. At least if you can avoid it. Is a paintball mask the lens? And I always had this thing about paintball lenses. It's like, look, I use a clear lens, especially when I played mostly indoors because LaSalle, as you mentioned, can be very dark. I use a gold lens, like the yellow lens, sorry. Not because I know they have gold that's like reflective. No, I use a yellow lens, which I guess some glasses that real people like at the Olympics and sharpshooters use. I find things pop, and I always use those. And when I switched masks and I went to buy one, it was like $95. And I don't think I need this one. I got a light smoke one for the dark days, and it's like, that's as dark as I go. But I always used to say to people, like, your lens, mirrored lens, and that, you can't see out of those. It's all for looks. Why are you doing that for? Well, this winter rather, I did get myself a green and kind of purplish lens. So I went to the dark side. But the reality is these lenses now, they're hardly tinted. When you wear them, you can see right out clear on those. Like, I guess the technology's gotten better because I always looked for like expensive ones. Like, could I see out of them better? Now, Thomas, you just because you got a JT, you got old school with that. You're one of those diehard cultists. You do have you've got the. Do you just have the smoke lens, or do you have another one?
Yeah, no. With the special edition, that's the Brimstone Smoke Tiger Stripe JT mask. I did get a clear lens along with the bronze smoky kind of look lens, and even before that, I had the Virtue Vios. I did have a clear and also a smoke lens. And going further back, I had the Dye i4s with the high definition lens. I don't think I had a smoke lens for that one.
That must have cost so
but
much. That must have cost so much. That's good mask. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. And with the high definition lens, though, that was really, really nice in low light situations. But and also when you trees, the woods and everything, where it's a little bit dark, that was excellent. But if you were to transition from the woods into a clearing on a very, very sunny day, it would burn my eyes. It was nuts. It was because it was the lens did very, very well in lighting up the darker places. When it's light, it just amplifies that a little bit more. And yeah,
I'm actually considering going back and getting an orange filter one, specifically when we do night events to make things pop. But we'll have to see. Mike, you got a pretty heavy duty mirrored lens, though. You got one of the cool ones in that. But that's what you've always had, right?
Well, kind of. I switch back and forth, kind of depending on where I am. I think the first mask I got was like the HK Army, the HS, whatever they were, HST, like $60 mask. I just needed it because the fogging. When I had first started playing, I was playing in the rain and stuff, and it was fogging so nuts. But that came with a clear lens and the fire, like really orangey lens, and I really liked that. But when it came to playing indoors, I needed the clear. I don't really know, as far as I haven't really had too many issues except for the night games, obviously. I can't see a thing out of this. I forget what the color it is, what it's considered, but it's like a yellow, green to blue. It's almost like fly eyes, like that kind of like. But I absolutely love it, and people tell me all the time that's all they can see, which is fine for me. But I have no issues visibility wise. I love it. So yeah, I've always kind of had the flashy ones.
I'll tell you what about fogging. It's a gentleman who's on vacation right now, well earned, Jeff, of course. Jeff, number 29 with C1D. He when I first got my grills too, is that's when I was looking for an orange one in that, and he's the one. He says, "Well, I got a couple of smoke ones," and I go, "Cool," and he gave it to me for a ridiculously low price, and then he explained to me. He goes, "Well, they're single paint," and I got it for like a song, and it's like, "Well, I'm not sure about single paint." He goes, "It works with this mask," and I went out in June at Warzone. So it's, you ever been in Quebec and played paintball, especially in June? It's hot and it's humid. That has never fogged up on me. Would I go buy single lens again? I like my double lens and all that, and I wouldn't necessarily trust it in another field. But in the hot, humid weather, that profile, the grills did not fog whatsoever. So, but it's how you play too. I mean, that's how you breathe and all that. And maybe I just don't run around the field hard enough with that. Now, actually, I did that night video. The thing about playing at night, I do love playing at night. I want to do 2 or 3 times this year again where we do that. I actually want. I'm really considering, when we want to have like a big game and have some people over, or just have a more structured event. I'm really considering like a Friday night, like starting like at 7:30 and running it till 10 or 11, just on top. And I would really love to do that. But that's what this time of year is with me, is trying to put stuff together like that. Let me look at some.
I'm in.
Other topics I have, like I said, I'd like to have this like catch-all podcast when we get it here. Actually, that's something else. Is one thing I do like about paintball and learning everybody in it is the personas we get. Like if you were to show Nick's mask and a helmet and just take a picture, it's a white table and you got Nick's mask and his helmet on top. And you say, "Oh, that's Nick's." And it's kind of a persona that they get from it. It's like Connor wears a white mask, which is funny because, like, well, is he a ref? Why would you wear a white mask? I think it has a lot. I think with our guys, it just says a lot about them. It's one of the things I really enjoy when I go to the field, is to see what people are wearing. The style they have. I noticed I was looking up some Fort West, their group, they have a group of guys like I don't want to say they're like us, but they're a group of guys that use a lot of mag fed stuff, and I forget what they're called, something Section 9. They look like milsim guys, but just like to have a good time. Yeah, Thomas is. If you can't see it, if you're listening to it, he's like, it's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just the persona there, they got the like the Call of Duty ghost mask on. I noticed that they have the proper forearm protectors they use for speedball, but they're mag fed guys. But with their corners and all that, it's just I don't know. It's a type of the culture I like about it when going to the field. It's something that I know it sounds stupid, and I'm not just trying to dig for a topic to talk about. I was itching to talk about this before. I mean, Mike, there's you when you go out. You got your mask. You got your use that orange, your big scarf there because you got to have the scarf on to protect your neck. Thomas, I talked about it before. He's got his Hawaiian shirt, or he's rocking the C1D shirt and that, and he's with his red outline on his mask. It's one of the things.
Miranda's signature braids.
She's got her braids. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I was gonna do that this year, but I had to start it last year to get that. Does she braid her hair in the car going down?
She does it on the road, on that windy road to Warzone. She's like, da, 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 da. And the one time she forgot, or I don't know if it was for dinner or something, she just didn't do it. And Jeff was like, "You didn't braid your hair." I just called her out.
No, I like it's one of the things I like about seeing what people have. Thank God, Michael, Connor's friend Michael, who's been with the group since the first year, actually. He'd always have rental gear. He'd always have a jumpsuit. He'd have whatever extra marker we had. Well, Mike, you sold him a TMC. He got himself a JT mask, Thomas. He went to the dark side. We got him a jersey, so he's going to be looking for a little bit of style there. He's looking better with style. If I was to tell you guys who has the worst luck with masks in the group, I'll tell you right away. His dog ate 2 of them.
Yep.
Oh, Nevin. Poor Nevin.
Nevin gets he shows up and he's got this. I think it was a dye mask, a blue one. I'm not sure which model, but it really gripped tight around his face. It's like, hey, that's a nice mask. Although it's blue, I don't want to get a blue or red mask personally because you go to a field, they put you on a team, which is good because Warzone they don't have blue color. It's orange and yellow. But so Nevin shows up and he's got this blue mask and he says, "My dog ate my mask." So it's like, oh, okay. And that mask lasted a few months. Then he shows up with a really nice Empire mask. And it's like, as a joke, it's like, "Did your dog eat your other mask?" You go, "Yeah, little bastard did." It's like, do you ever think the first thing you should do when you get home is, I could picture him, just opening his bag to let it, air out a little bit. It's not as bad as hockey, but you just air it out. And it's like, when you go home, either keep the bag zipped or unzip it and put your mask, I don't know, maybe on a shelf. But yeah.
On the fridge or something. Like, it's really high.
Yeah, the bad luck with that. If we can talk, though, about positive, and we mentioned it earlier with D-Day, is I would like to definitely have, and I did mention it, like I said, I would like to build up on the podcast and we discuss, what we're going to do, because I think by us discussing it, it'll get more people involved in it. It'll go back to what I was just mentioning of showing others, like, it's not easy to get a club, a group like us together. And the toughest part is finding the people. And I'm so thankful that we have the group we have playing. But just to like encourage other and even just hype people up to it. And even believe it or not, I'm remastering the first D-Day we played at 2019. And it's so wild how just we knew nothing about a big game. Is I just want to emphasize the thing, and we saw it at Thomas, me and you saw it at the previous D-Days we played prior to last year. We had a more modest group. Well, 2 years ago we had 16 players, but the one time you came out, I think it was 5 of us, 4 or 5 of us, the first time you came out with us. It's all about going out there and communicating, and I want people to listen to the podcast or watch the videos and hype, because If you get in there and you make a run, it's that rush of that first run, and all of a sudden you hit the other team. Whether you're on the tree line, whether you're in the on the top of Hamburger Hill, it's like, what do I do now? And watching that first videos, we didn't know what to do. And the last times we've been out, it's, you see, when you tell the guys, look, this is what we're going to do, and the people buy into it, and they look around, they say, yeah, in the first 5 minutes, we're going to have a fucking great day. This is going to be the best day of paintball. And if you want your day of paintball, if you want your big game of paintball to be good, whether it's your first big game or your 10th big game, you got to buy into that. And I know some guys like being lone wolves. Some guys like their speedball marker and they sit in the forest to get people from long. That's cool. But I really want to build that this year. I think, first of all, I think Commando Action deserves it because I honestly just, I'm biased, but I love that event. I love that event. It's a great event. Mm-hmm. It's a great field. It's got great people. I think if you were to go around and look at people that talk about, look at the two podcasts I mentioned before, Frontline and Maritime Paintball Podcast. They talk about the event all the time, and it's all about having fun. It's not about, hey, this year we're gonna team up with this group and this group, and we're gonna kick their asses. And when we say we kick their ass, we kind of laugh. It's like we're gonna go out there and kick their ass, and we know we got an equal thing of getting hit back. But do you guys like the hype train leading into D-Day? Do you want, I know Thomas was well involved because, of course, he did try to defend the Kaiser's honor. How do you guys feel about the hype of it? This isn't a question of it's your obligation as a paintball player to promote it. I mean, how does that help you? Does that hype it even more? Or are you just going to be there and it's just gravy?
Go ahead, Thomas. I can see you're up there.
Well, I definitely thought the little videos last year that was I thought it was nice. Would I say hype? I don't think so. I really liked the it was more for me. It was more of the interest of the scenario itself at D-Day. It really is a fun event, and I have a lot of fun with that. And like I like to play with rules. In the past, of like done some pretty sketchy things, but playing within the set of rules, because when you've written the rules down, it leaves also interpretation for everything that has not been written down in black and white, and that's the area that I like to play around with. So yeah, and like no, and part of the idea is with big games in general is like you are able to find your game, how you like to play the game. And sure, you can take off as a lone wolf thing, or you can stick together with like your friends. You can find your game. If you want to stick to the rules, stick to the rules. If you want to follow the scenario,
stick to the rules.
Stick to the rules. No. Yeah. You could take off to Ottawa, just go right past the outer boundaries. No, but if you really want to do the role play thing and get into the set of rules, yes, that's there for you. Or as you said, if you want to go there and you want to just lob paint, go for it, lob paint. It's you're just there to like that's it. You can find your own game, and then there's all sorts of other people there.
Well, Mike, you don't need the hype, but you may. Are you going to bring some other Yankees up with you at this time? You said some of the guys from your home field may be interested.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. They definitely, after seeing the videos that I put out and the ones that I shared that you made and stuff, I definitely have a few people that are gonna come over for sure. I don't know how many. The commitment is terrible with them, but I enjoyed the hype because it was my first D-Day last year, so all the hype leading up to it, was amazing. And outside of all your videos, I was watching just as many videos on YouTube as I could about the field and the games and stuff, so I could get a little grasp on the situation. So I think that we should definitely put as much, if not more, somehow. Like not that I want to overload you, because you got a lot, but we definitely got to keep the hype up, because just getting as many people there, I think, is important.
Well, we'll dust off the Kaiser soon, and maybe that'll help with a little comedic action with that, for sure. But part of it too is the drive.
There's any time that's too soon. It's never too soon.
It's never too soon. There we go. And a part of it is for people, it's the drive. They get comfortable. I mean, Warzone's out of town anyway, and I keep telling people, look, it's 45 minutes past Warzone. It's like 45 minutes, but it's a big game. We got a gentleman who is taking. He's a general in a game near London, Ontario. Asked if we were interested in going. It is more. It's a big game, but it's more of a lot of guys use speedball markers. It's a serious big game. There are some good teams playing. Yep. And it's like, I was interested to a degree. It's like, but do I want to drive 10 hours one way and get demolished? Because I don't mind doing that locally and say, hey man, if I even get one person out today, I'll be happy. It's a moral victory. I just don't want to do it for 10 hours, driving 10 hours. And I think the one good thing about Commando, and you see from a lot of people, is you just tell them, hey man, just drive. You're in Montreal, because most of our guys are in Montreal. I'll carpool with you, whatever. It's not that far, and it is totally worth it. So if anybody's listening that's on the fence ever about a big game, especially if there's one close to you, man, just do it. It's the most fun you're gonna have. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Most fun. Period. Oh, it's already been.
I lost count. I forgot how many big games we did last year.
Well, you did
in Miranda, but it was like 4.
Oh, you did 4, because you did. Yeah, you did
3.
You did.
Yeah, it was 4.
Yeah, you did 4. You did Commando Action. You did your home field, Capital City. You did the Tipman
0 hour.
Yep. You did 0 hour
Tipman, and then the last one.
Yeah, the operation.
It was a busy year.
That is a big year. If I would have attended 4, I would have 0 room on my hard drives, because I go kind of nuts with that kind of thing with the videos.
One thing I regret not doing is obviously not an exact count, but just a rough count of how many balls we shot last year would be a scary number to some people.
I could imagine. I didn't shoot many. Operation Rush I did, so this 6EF, our second big game in the year at Maribel. The first big game, I did not shoot a lot of balls, but I was doing what I like to do, run around the field and try to organize people. So, but some of you guys, I mean, when I first saw Thomas, when we had his camera in like 3 years ago for the video. No, 3 years ago, you had the pump. You didn't shoot too much. But then the next year, when we had 16, so 2023, I've never seen you. I watched you shoot more balls in a 15-minute segment than you do all day at home, at the home field. It's like, it's, and like I said, I don't want to be on the other end of that, but it was cool to see that.
That's a target.
People open up with it too. I got so many things I want to talk about for D-Day, and that we'll save for the shows and all that. And I mean, I think there is a set of base rules. We'll probably do that or to recommend to players. If you're playing in a big game, you want to make the most of it. I'm going to suggest these like 4 or 5 things. And when you talked about scenario, Thomas, it's like some people don't want to, they have the puzzles you got to find and do. You got the lock boxes with the codes. I don't really do that too much, but it's a good layer to it. But like one advice I like, this is the example I want to give is, and we talked about it before. I know, I think you listened to that podcast, Thomas. That's when I invited, but you weren't in a position to actually go in and talk. Mike was there. Is your medic, you must protect your medic at absolutely all costs. And how I think I think the advantage any team has is if you stop putting the old, bigger guys who tend to be medics in some of these big games, because it's more like, well, it's like me. I'm not a big guy, but I'm old. I don't run around a lot. So it's like, well, make Andrew medic. So I'm there and I have something to do. It's like, no, they need to be your most important player on the field. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm repeating myself, but I'm not sure how many people listen to all these podcasts. So it's probably new to whoever is. It's when I watch the videos and Connor's on the field, or there was the other guy. He had one of those predator type things, that protect your head. It's got like the fake dreads on it that guys wear, so it protects them from getting hit in the head. I'd wear one of those, but imagine how stupid I'd look.
The armadillo thing.
Yeah, exactly. Is when total strangers are like, protect the medic, and the guy's screaming, medic, medic, and there's a guy you don't even know. It's like, no, the medic's back here. He's not getting killed. It's too valuable. And people buy into it. And I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent again. You know how good I am with those guys. It really gets my blood flowing in a positive way. And I've got a really wild strategy I would love to do for D-Day. I'm not even going to mention it on this podcast. Once we sign off and we sit and we chat a little bit, I'll bring it up to you guys. I suggested it to Connor, and he said it's not possible. But I say, I think it's possible, son. You got to aim for the stars. But that's because I have no life, and I just sit up and think about these things a lot. I sit about them.
Well, it might depend on whatever scenario that they present this year, too.
Oh, yeah, the momentum rule. The momentum rule's got to be gone, because if the momentum rule, for those of you listening, is you got your D-Day always revolves. The one constant on D-Day is slapsticks to control your area. I think most big games have that. Although didn't the Capital City one just had one in the middle?
Yeah, Capital Combat Zone. It was just one switch flag in the middle, so it's a flag on a rope high enough to where right from the spawn you could see what color was up. So you knew, like, once you spawned, you knew whether you had to charge the flag or if you could go somewhere to, guard it. But yeah, cool. It was just one. But I mean, the field is basically a rectangle, so they play it kind of like a football game, just smashing heads all day. Which it's a different style, but it's I enjoy it.
So, and we should go there. I've talked about it before. I think we should. When is their event? For that's in July, isn't it?
I can't even remember. They have a few. But that one's ran by an outside organization that comes in, so it could be any time of the year. But I'm assuming they try to keep it around the same time. They said they were coming back. They actually just did a winter one. I'm really terrible with names. I wish I could give them a shout out because they do a good job. But the event coordinators just did one during the winter, and I guess it went pretty well.
Cool. Oh yeah, that's how I started that thing. Last year, the slapsticks were, if you're running for a slapstick, traditionally when you get hit, you walk away from it. But it's if you don't lose momentum. So if you're running for it and they're hitting you, as long as you don't break stride, you slap it, it's good. And I have no problem with that, but I don't think you can do it again this year because they unveil this just as the game starts. So this way you don't have guys probably like me that overthink things that are like, this is what we're going to do. Because we got a couple of guys that are crazy enough. It's like, do you want to run across the field? There's 3 slapsticks. Go in a big circle and hit them all. Nevin, he did it.
Yeah.
I don't
even need a marker.
No, didn't even need a marker. And it's funny, but I don't think they can do that 2 years in a row because then I think people kind of look for it and then it just creates a different scenario altogether. Because you want to make it competitive. But you want to draw a line.
Right. One thing I thought was a little odd, and I didn't even know it till about halfway through, was because I thought people were kind of just cheating, but I was like, whatever. But the whole backwards revive thing, like if you were walking back to spawn, which in my eyes, technically you're dead, you're out, you need to go. Because like if you get hit and you go down to your knee, put your hand up, call for a medic, it's like you're dying, you need to be revived. You know what I mean? Like in a video game, that's how I consider it. But once you get up and start walking back to spawn, I consider that like you're dead. But they had the rule where if you were walking back to spawn, you could either walk towards a medic, kind of like you couldn't go forward towards a medic, but you could walk backwards and hit a medic, or a medic could beeline over to you as you were walking towards spawn and revive you.
Yeah,
and I guess that was part of the rule.
Yeah, that was last year.
I thought that was a little fun.
Unless it's a headshot. Yeah, that was.
Unless it was a headshot. But it just threw me for a loop when it came to the whole. I played a lot of video games, and that kind of just took me away from everything I've ever known.
That's the first time I've come across that.
So,
because the other three D-Days I'd played at, and the other big games I'd played at, a couple more under my belt there. Oh, no, wait, the one didn't have a medic. Sorry, the only big. I don't think Maribel had a medic when I played at Titman Challenge 2019. Sure, the rules have changed. They change every year. But yeah, usually when you left your spot, that's it. You have to go all the way back to spawn. But last year they did that.
Right.
I didn't mind it last year because it's because you would have had a lot more. It made things tighter. But that's the thing I like about Commando Action is you find out the rules basically right before the game, which is good to do. I mean, you improvise, you don't overthink it. Because we would overthink it. Okay, you know
Mikey's here.
Mikey is here. The man, the myth, the legend. He is he's doing work. Remember, he works Sunday nights to get ahead on so he can sleep at his desk on Mondays. By the way, Connor is doing some studying. That's why Connor's not on the podcast tonight. It is that time of year, the study time and such. So it's allowed the three of us to kind of talk for an hour and 10 minutes. And Mikey, get a watch because we're signing off here. You're late, man. And we're gonna book it here. We're gonna book it here. I want to thank Mike Thomas. Any closing notes on stuff we've mentioned? It'll be much more of a structured podcast next time. We will address some D-Day stuff, big game stuff in general. But
you know my memory. I don't remember half the things we talked about.
Yeah. Next time.
I'm just excited to get out there. I just whether it's an indoor game or if we do have to wait a few more months for outdoor weather, doesn't matter. I'm just excited to get out there.
Look, I think we'll be out before the middle of March. Another like spring event at Warzone. That wasn't too bad, so I think we'll be there. You got another month and a bit. Thomas, any closing notes for you, or you're just ready to go at when duty calls?
Well, I think I do have to service all my markers. But any real parting shots? I'm rather eager to get back out there for sure. Definitely, I have one Saturday in mid-March. I am going somewhere and playing.
Cool. And mark on your calendar too.
Albany has no snow. Let's go. We can go right now. No snow at Capital Combat Zone.
I tell you what, last year we did the Lancaster in June, 2 weeks after D-Day. I think we should do it late June again. I want to have all of our crew out. Bunker Hill is now Vimy Ridge. I mentioned that in the last podcast, so there's more trenches on it. We know their field with the tall grass will be even taller. And I think it would be nice to get out there, play a couple of games with. If we get, let's say, we get 16 of us out there, we can chop it up into two groups on that Bunker Hill field. On the smaller fields, we can chop into smaller sections and just have fun. I like to do. And if the gentleman who runs is listening to Lancaster is only coming out once, we'll probably come out more than once. But I think we're going to probably schedule like a big day there to go there and have some fun at that field. But there's no place.
I had an absolute blast there.
That was a blast. No place like home. We will be back at least in March to Warzone. I didn't go out at the winter event that Nick set up because I'm old. The guys that did show up, they said they had a blast. And of course, it's a good field in that, so it's a different type of thing. But it's just too damn cold for me. I won't lie. Getting hit by those frostbites hurt. They hurt.
Big time. When they don't break. Oh,
Oh, any paintball that doesn't break is the one that stings. Okay, for the second time, I'm going to try to cut us out here. Look, we're itching to play. We're itching to talk. We'll have some more structure coming up. We got the videos coming out as usual. For those of you who missed it, I got bored and I created a Frankenstein Lego of one of our players. You can see that on our shorts. And let me just put it this way. He ain't the only one. So we got a few little twists at that. So can have fun. It's not, we don't get many views, which is good because in the sense that the only people that watch our videos and listen to the podcast are our group, and that's what I make it for. So I'm segregating it even more. I'm spending a lot of time and thought into videos that like will get 8 views, but it'll be the best 8-view video you've ever seen with inside jokes. So we'll go with that. Thomas, Mike, thanks for coming. Chris, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Having me.
Michelangelo booked. He's like the VIP. You pay to be somewhere. He's late and then he's the first to leave. Frickin' guy. It's a good thing you're a nice guy, Michelangelo. All right. Go out there, have fun. Subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like this nonsense. Because it isn't nonsense to us. How dare you call it nonsense? Me call it nonsense? Never. I'm just so bad at outros. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like us, rate us, and tell everybody about us. Thanks for listening.